Hello, everyone. That's Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi!
Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, Sam.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you 2 weeks in a row. It is very
I
special.
know. I love it. I
I,
love
I ask for nothing more in the world.
it. Same.
How has your week been, Sarah?
It has been so busy, but I made it, right? I mean,
You're,
like,
you're standing. I mean, sitting, but you're standing.
I'm still here.
Well, I'm so glad to end the week with you. I think this is going to be a really awesome class. So, if folks don't know, today is number 2 of our kits with the lovely Sara Lovecraft. We did number 1 last Friday, which was our Purple Majesty kit that Rachel and I made for Sarah. And then today for today's class was called Carnelian Birdies. And it's basically full of carnelian, full of beautiful Czech birds, TierraCast birds. Sarah will show you everything. It's really pretty. And Sarah literally made this design take flight. So today's class is all about creating with the kit. So if you have the kit, you can mostly make along. We're gonna jump certain parts just because there's a lot of loops, so we're in a lot of things to do today.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to squeeze in 3 projects. We're gonna mostly focus, I think you said, on the necklace project.
Yep.
And then of course make sure to go through the bracelet and earrings as well. I can't believe you made 3 pieces from this kit. Do you still have more beads? How about?
Look, I do. I have like a little baggie of my leftovers. So there's just a little bit left. Not a lot, but just a little. And I'm saving it.
Nice.
This is my
You should.
special bag.
Oh, right, because we also sent you some of the extra metal options for the bracelet. I was like, oh, I saw the bird in that bag, but you did use the bird in the kit in the design.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Here are, let's see how prepared I am today. Screen share. Here are the projects we're heading towards today. We've got 3 pieces here, and I think they're stunning. So
Thank you.
Is that a 2-strand necklace, Sarah?
It is. It is so you guys know if you've taken classes with me before, you know how I do. It's a faux 2-strand necklace. Like the whole thing is not 2 strands because I like to fake it all the time.
Oh, no, that's what I do too. I think that makes a lot of sense. Where you see 2 strands. That makes I've never even thought of it as faux 2 strands, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It feels, but it looks like 2 strands, so it is 2 strands.
I think it qualifies as 2 strands for sure, but it keeps you from getting all the tangling that happens because it does come down to a single strand of just some faux suede lace in the back. Lots of fake. Oh. We got lots of fake things going on here. Or leather, whatever it is that you want to use, it will come down to a single strand, and that just keeps you from having that issue where things can get twisted and tangled up, and you still have the really cool stuff in the front, and it doesn't waste a lot of the material. So you have all of your pretty beads in the front where they're going to be seen, and then in the back you can really just kind of use whatever's really comfortable, and that's sort of why I chose the suede, because it's really, really comfortable to wear.
I love the tassel. I think it's stunning and looks like it takes some patience.
Little bit. We're going to do a lot of little loops today.
And then with this lovely bracelet technique, we're going to get to explore some wire wrapping on leather, which I think is a great finisher for this class.
Yeah.
And then we've got some cute little earrings using the Carnelian Clovers. I think those are darling.
Yes, I love those. Love that bead. Those are so pretty.
All right. You said you wanted to start with the necklace?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to make along today?
Today I didn't work out. I'm at the office all day today.
Do it.
I know. I was trying to squeeze in 1,200 things before leaving town tonight. I was like, I don't think I can go home right now.
We forgive you. I forgive you, rather. I
do promise to make from this kit because I love your ideas from it.
Well, I want everybody to be prepared. Like I said, we're going to do a lot of little loops, but I did a lot of these ahead of time. And so we're not going to do every single one of these simple loops, but I want to tell you, this project is going to be a great practice project for those simple loops. Simple loops is one of the things that I hear the most that people struggle with. It's probably the number one thing that people really seem to have problems with and get mad about, and sometimes just don't ever do them at all simply because they don't turn out correctly. And I'm here to show you that once you get them down, like once you've made as many of them as you're going to make for this necklace, number one, you're going to see that they're going to get better as you go. But number two, even if they don't, they're all going to cluster together. Nobody is ever going to notice what those loops look like, and you really can kind of give yourself a break. Okay, so that's the lesson in today's project, is give yourself grace, because the little stuff, that we're not going to sweat the small stuff. We are just not going to let those things bother us. But we do have a lot of simple loops to make today, and even though this necklace is full of simple loops, there are some other lessons in here that I think are going to be, they're just small things that a lot of times kind of get pushed to the side when it comes to classes. And I want to really kind of focus on those things. You'll notice there are jump rings at the end of these strands. This is part of our tassel. We're going to get here in just a second, but there's a good lesson here about the jump rings and the hows and the whys of why these are part of the design. So it's going to be some of the smaller elements outside of just the simple loops that I think are going to be some really good takeaways from this project. Plus the fact that the beads are beautiful and the necklace ends up being really, really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And
I should add, Sarah, I realized I didn't even give folks the update on this kit, that we sold this out because we had it in gold and copper and both sold out. Rachel tried to make some more and actually was pretty successful. So we posted a version 2 of this kit that Sarah's working with today on the website. And I hope I put the right link in the post. I don't know if I did. Yeah, it linked in this post is a collection of all this, is a collection that has the kit plus some of the other supplies in the kit as well. We weren't able to make more of last week's kit, but we did add a couple of the elements that were in it to the website, which is also in that collection. So if you're looking for some of the beads today, just check out the first link in this under this video.
Awesome. Yay. All right. Well, I feel so weird since you're not doing this with me. But
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's totally fine. So we're going to start with the focal. You're keeping me company. That's all I could ever ask for. So we're going to start with the focal, and the focal is in the picture. It is, so all of these little strands, there's 6 of these little beaded chains. 4 of them are already done. Hold on. I'm sorry. There's 5 of them. We're going to put one of them together, and then we're going to make our focal, and then we're going to build the necklace around that. So we're actually going to start here with these. Now, each one of these are the same amount of, it's the same amount of beads, but the difference is the amount of jump rings. And again, we'll talk about the why of that here in just a few minutes. But we're going to get started with these little black beads, and then we're going to put, well, we're going to do 5 of those, and then we're going to do 3 of these little star beads at the bottom. Okay, so it's kind of like, it's ombre, but it's not, because it's not all the same color, but it's, you transition from this color to the black. It all kind of works together. You'll see the flow with this is really, really nice. So one of the things I do want to talk about is my eye pins, and everybody's going to ask me, where did I get these eye pins? I don't know where they came from. I'm just going to go ahead and be completely honest with you. They were just in my stash, but I picked them because they're tiny. Look at this. They're very, very small. So when you're working on making simple loops with just a single bead, I really recommend trying to find these if you can get your hands on them. I'm sure that there are places where you can get them. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but it makes so much sense, because if you're just using a single bead, there's not a whole lot of waste. Not only that, but you don't struggle with how much you got to cut. You're just going to cut a tiny, tiny bit off of this. In fact, if your bead was a little bit bigger, you may not have to cut anything off of it at all. So really the trick to this is going to be these short little eye pins. I just wish that I could give you a good source for them, but maybe Sam can hook us up one of these days, because they're very, very handy for sure.
Yeah, now I'm seeing that. That looks very, very helpful.
Yeah,
like,
it really makes a huge difference. And I know that like I originally was like, well, it shouldn't make that big of a difference, but it does. It really, it for more than just the lack of waste, but I just feel like you're not dealing with so much wire. It just makes those loops come out differently. I don't know why. I don't know why it works. They say don't question it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So I'm not going to. So we're using these tiny little guys. I'm going to put all 5 of my beads on those. And then these 3, 2 of them are going to go on these little eye pins as well. And then one of them is going to go onto a head pin. And that's what each one of the strands for your tassel is going to be made up of. So it's 5 of the black beads and it's 3 of the star beads. And you're going to have, let's see, 7 eye pins and 1 head pin. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and preload everything here. We're going to set these to the side and we're going to get started with these simple loops. Okay, so
it's also kind of nice that if folks don't have eye pins ready to go or an eye pin that matches the metal they want,
yeah,
you of course can get out your maybe some German style wire and go to town.
Absolutely. And I almost did that. I almost did it, and then I thought people will be so mad at me if I ask them to cut like 100 of them. So I didn't do it, but you're 100% right. Like, you don't have to buy your findings. You can make your own, and doing eye pins is super easy to do. So, and that way you can cut them really short if you want to, which is nice. All right, so the bead goes on to the eye pin. Then you're going to grab the wire right where it is exiting the bead, and you're going to make the bend over the bead. So you don't have to bend the wire over the pliers. We're literally bending it over the bead itself because we're not doing any wraps. We don't need any of that extra room for that. We're going to come in with our cutter tool and we're going to trim off. Now, these are already pretty short, so I'm just trimming off the tiniest little amount of the wire. What you're looking for is about 1/4 of an inch of wire. If you're not comfortable with 1/4 of an inch, you are more than welcome to use 1/2 inch of wire for this. And you're going to use your round nose pliers. You're going to grab the tip of that wire and you're going to roll back towards the bead and towards your hands to close that loop. And closing the loop is really important. You want to be sure that you get it as closed as you possibly can. Now, we're going to be opening it up again later, but that second time that you open it, when you close it, it's really important that you get it closed so that your beads don't come apart on you. That's the difference with your simple loops. Since they don't have the wire wraps to hold them, you got to be sure you've got a really good closure on them. So we're going to do that with all of these. You're going to get lots and lots of practice, like I said, of these simple loops.
How did you bend that over so easily? Because I've never been able to bend wire over flush to do what you just did.
So it's really, for me, I wish that I had like a magic, some sort of magical way to tell you. It's really kind of weird what I do. So I hold on to it really tightly, and then I do my pliers like this. I'm not going to do the motion, but I'm going to show you basically what happens with my pliers. I do this. You see how I'm just like very quickly opening and closing the pliers on the wire? I do that as I'm bending the wire, and for whatever reason, it bends the wire. I've never been one of those people who can just do it in like one smooth motion. It just doesn't work for me. So I do this like chomping down. It's like I'm chewing the wire with my pliers, and it bends the wire over for me. Which is kind of weird, I know, but it works. It works. And then I do my loops kind of the same way because I can't do a loop just in one turn. So when I come in with my round nose pliers, you'll notice that like I'm kind of rocking the wire back. Like I'm doing really small movements to get that loop instead of just like one turn. If I do one turn, my loop looks awful. So I do it in really small movements, just the same with bending the wire over too. So if you struggle, maybe try those steps instead of trying to do it just one and done. What you can see again where I'm just barely opening and closing the pliers. And it bends it over pretty well. Now, if you've got a nice soft wire, you can do it with your fingers. But one of the things that I find is that the shorter the wire is that you have at the top. So let's say you have a regular size eye pin and it's filled up with beads and you only have this much wire to work with. just like with these, because they're shorter, I find that I do have a little bit harder time getting that wire to bend to the side like that. Whereas if I've got a lot of wire, then I have a lot more leverage.
That's interesting, because I feel like I gave up on trying to bend my wire with my pliers. I was like, I got to be able to bend with my finger. And then sometimes if my head pin is just too thick, like it's not going to bend.
Yep.
Just with my finger, or at least not well, or it's going to hurt me or something.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see this idea for that it is possible.
Oh yeah. I don't like to do it with my fingers unless I've got a lot of wire to work with, because it is painful, especially if you're holding like a little tiny bead. For me, bicones are the worst. Like if I got to do a bicone and I got to do a simple loop on it and I got to do a bunch of them, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to like mentally prepare myself for that, because it's a painful experience.
It's like we need like little like things for the tips of our fingers to hold them better, because like my fingers get poked into by the like.
Oh yeah.
Over and over.
So with the little star beads, these rice shaped beads, you don't need to cut any of the wire. There's nothing to cut. You've got exactly what you need to make a loop. In fact, your loop's probably going to be on the small side, but it's still going to be a loop, and maybe a small one, but it's still a loop. But you don't have to cut anything if you're using these little small ones. Zena. Sorry, I had to fuss at the dog.
When you have a moment when you're done with these, would you measure one of your eye pins from
yes.
end for us?
Yes. All right, so I did all of these are the loops, right? There's a loop on both sides. This one is on a head pin. It's just going to be a simple loop. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to measure those for you. So bend the wire. Then trim off. And then round nose pliers to come in and do your simple loop. Okay. All right. So, oh my goodness. Sorry.
My friends.
All right. So they're a little over a ½ inch. So what is that? I don't math, so I don't know. It's the next big mark after a ½ inch, but not the biggest, because that would be this one right here. But does that help at all, Sam? No. Are you there? Is Sam there? Did I lose you?
I've been talking on mute. Oh my God. Here I've been chatting with you. La 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 la. Put it on the millimeters. I think that might help.
Okay, yeah. You're right. My bad. Okay.
Kathy says 5/8.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, so it's just over like 16 of the millimeters.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very helpful. 1 inch is 20. No, seriously, 1 inch is 25 millimeters.
Yeah.
Sort of. I think.
Sort of. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you asked me to math. See what happens?
Yeah, put us two together. Good luck.
All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put all these together to make ourselves a little chain. And doing that is really simple, but you got to be careful about it, because you want to be sure that you're twisting these loops instead of pulling them apart. Okay, so what I mean by that is you want to treat each one of these loops like you would a jump ring, in the sense that you're going to hold this in your fingers, and with your pliers you're going to twist it open. So you're not going to pull it apart to try to open it up. You're going to twist it open, and then you can twist it back, and that's going to help maintain that round shape. If you just pull it apart, you're never going to get that round shape again. And if you're already self-conscious about your little simple loops, you definitely don't want to make them any worse by pulling them apart. So definitely it's a twist. And you're going to do that with each one. So you're going to twist it open, thread on another one, and then you're going to twist to close. You're going to move up a bead. You're going to twist to open, add a bead, twist to close, twist to open, add a bead. Oops. And then you're going to twist to close, Okay, and now we're going to add our star beads. So there's one of those. Okay, and then the last one is going to be the one that's on the head pin. Okay. All right, so you've got one of the strands for what is going to make up our tassel. Now you need to do that 5 times. So you're going to do 5 of these strands. That's a lot of little loops. And believe it or not, that's not the only little loops or the simple loops we're going to do today.
This is such a fantastic project to binge your favorite show with.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What's that show for you, Sarah?
Oh my gosh. So right now it's Naruto. And I know I'm such a nerd, but I'm in Naruto Shippuden, which is a funny word. I love it. But yeah, that's what I literally have been doing, because there's like hundreds of episodes of the show. Okay. Yeah. And the show has been around forever and a million years. I know I'm so behind the times, but I can put it on, and since it's not in subtitles, it's dubbed. I can listen and work at the same time. Yeah.
Good tangent. I enjoy.
What are you watching? I know what you're watching.
What do you think I'm watching?
You're always watching Grey's Anatomy.
Always.
It
won't watch itself.
Okay.
Back to the beginning.
That's me in Supernatural. I start over from the beginning and rewatch all of it. So, which is actually what Q and I are doing when we watch things together right now. But anyway, I know he's never watched Supernatural before, so this is a whole new experience for him. All right, once you get all of these done, then we need to add the jump rings to the top. And I know that seems really weird, but it's necessary. And part of the reason why we need to add these jump rings is because all of our strands, right? Remember, all of the beaded strands that we've made here are all the same length. And we're going to cluster them together. They're going to be all hanging from a single jump ring. Well, when you bring all of those strands together, whether it is in a tassel or whether you're doing like a multi-strand design where your necklace has several strands and you're going to be bringing all of those strands together, something that tends to happen when those strands are beaded is the top 2 or 3 beads, they tend to crowd each other out. And it will make your tassel hang really funny. It just doesn't have the right look to it. And it will make your multi-strands for your multi-strand designs kind of crowded, and it just looks a little bit messy. So the way to avoid that and to give each one of the beads their own space is to add some jump rings. Now I've staggered mine because I want mine to hang at different lengths. However, if you want them all to hang at the same length, just pick the same number of jump rings to put at the top of each one of your strands. So what happens is you're clustering the jump rings together, which don't take up nearly as much space as the beads. And it gives the beads enough room to hang without crowding each other out. Does that make sense at all? I hope it does.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like in awe because that's the issue I always have.
Yeah.
Making these sorts of tassels, they get like bunched at the top. They don't know the beads don't know where to go.
Yeah. So, and you don't have to use jump rings. You can use little pieces of chain, which ultimately is what we're doing with our jump rings anyway.
Right.
So instead of using these, you can use small pieces of chain, but it also works for your multi-strand necklaces as well. The necklace that I did in my project, my Feel Good Friday show today was like that. It was a 3-strand necklace, but each one had a little section of chain to kind of separate it out so that when they all came together to a single jump ring, everything had its own, it's like it all stayed in its own lane, basically, you know?
Yo, right. By the way, I did see that necklace totally sold out, but Sarah, I think, has some of her other kits from her weekly Feel Good Friday show in her Etsy shop. So you should not wait because you're going to miss out on the other ones.
Yeah. And we had some really awesome designs today. So definitely go check those out.
I believe the easiest way to get, you can't search Sara Lovecraft to get to Sarah's Etsy very easily. So I always search 13 Crows, which is the name of her Etsy shop.
Yeah. That'll get you there. All right, so for this strand, I'm doing 2 jump rings, and you'll see this one has 2 jump rings and this one has 2 jump rings. So I have 5 of these. That means that 3 of them are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump rings. Okay, so that's how that's all going to work out. And we're just going to open and close these little jump rings, making ourselves, essentially we're making a little chain out of jump rings. Let's go ahead and add another one to this one.
Do you usually gravitate towards your bent nose pliers for opening and closing jump rings?
Honestly, it's just what I have on hand. I normally have the bent and the straight always here on my desk, so it's just kind of out of habit. But really, it's just whatever I can reach for. Like I don't really recommend one over the other. I just always have my bent chain nose pliers on hand because I use those a lot of times. Like if I make a wrap loop and I'm going to wrap it directly to something, the bent chain nose pliers, are really helpful for that. So that's usually why I have them. But I'm going to open that one and add it to this one. Okay. All right. So now we've got 3 with 5 jump rings. We have 2 of them with 2 jump rings, and we're going to add these to a larger jump ring here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that jump ring, and you'll see what I mean by everything having its own space when you add those little jump rings in. So there's 1, there's 2, there's the other one, and I'm alternating, right? And you can see how those jump rings, see how that bead is sitting in between those jump rings there, and it doesn't have to compete for space with another bead. So jump rings are very, very helpful for that, or little pieces of chain or tiny beads. It's whatever you've got. So now everything hangs really nicely on this jump ring without crowding itself, or without crowding each other out, rather. Okay. So that's going to be the bottom part of your tassel, right? It's just going to take some time. Just be patient with all those loops. Watch Grey's Anatomy. Put all that together. Okay. All right. So there's that. I'm just going to sit that right here. Now we're going to attach this to our bird and one of these awesome table cut Czech glass beads. We're going to stack those up. We're going to put those on an eye pin. So I'm going to grab an eye pin really quickly, or you can do a piece of wire, whatever works for you. Let's see. Do I have a different?
I hope I didn't miss any good gossip at the last minute because my AirPods decided to shut down.
No, you're good. We were totally talking about you, though. No.
In the 1 minute.
I told them all your secrets while you were gone. All right. So we've got an eye pin here. I'm going to open up that eye pin with a twist. I'm going to thread that onto the jump ring that has all of our little beaded chains on it. And I'm going to thread on our bird. And then I'm going to thread on our table cut bead. And if you've got a long enough piece of wire, you can do a wrapped loop. I'm just going to do a simple loop because I don't have a whole lot of wire here.
Can we talk about how cute that bird is for a second, please?
I know, that's why he had to be the focal. There was no other choice.
It was like my dream for that bird. It's just people perched right in the center because he's the star.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna roll
that batch had like an AB finish on one side. I'm trying to remember which with that. Yeah, on the other side maybe.
Oh, yep. Yeah, he has that really cool kind of color shift going on. So awesome.
I love this Czech shape. We got a few colors of it in the shop, but that one really stands out.
They're super cool. So there's our focal. Okay, the focal is done, and you guys are not going to get yours done as quickly as I did mine because I cheated and had a lot of mine already ready. Okay. But the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make another beaded strand or a beaded chain with our carnelian beads, and we're going to use some more of those simple loops. I know you guys are never going to want to do simple loops again, or you're going to master them. So it's either going to be one of the two. Just don't come after me. And we're going to add a little bit of length to this with some chain. So we are going to use 12 of the carnelian beads. This one's already done for you. This one, 6 of them are done. So we're going to do 6 of them, and then we're going to add our piece of chain. And this is going to be our bottom strand of our necklace. Now remember, it's a 2-strand necklace. So we're working on this bottom strand right now. So we're just going to do the exact same thing with our carnelian that we did with the others. So we've got each one of these little beads is going to go onto an eye pin. And we're going to do more simple loops.
I rated the candy stash.
What you eating?
Well, you know, saltwater taffy.
Yum. Oh my gosh.
We got this like, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I mean, it's not important. We got this like big bag as a test batch because I wanted to do it for the, I think for the July box as the candy with the beach theme. But then we got the sample in the mail and the flavor was not approved by the, by the office. So now we have this giant bag of root beer saltwater taffy, and I love it. Oh my
gosh. Yum. That sounds really good.
I think I'm the only one who eats it.
That's crazy. You have to really like root beer to eat root beer taffy or to eat root beer suckers. I always end up with all of the root beer suckers and the,
those are good.
I know. And the root beer jelly bellies, like nobody else in my house will eat them, but I will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we end up doing Werthers for the box. I thought folks tend to like the Werthers.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm missing my peppermint, so.
Oh, that's the buttermints?
Yes. Oh, those
you
are
need to
so
bring
good.
back the buttermints?
Mm-hmm. It's my favorite.
Okay, what were you going to say about candy?
Oh, so in Hardwired before this, I was on a tangent about how I haven't had time to eat lately because I just haven't. My schedule is so crazy. And we got done with Hardwired and I was getting ready for this class and Kathy sent me a message and she was like, I hope you found a snack. And I was like, yeah, candy corn. And she just gave me the eyes. I'm like, I know that's not real food, but you did say snack and that's all I had time for. So I had some candy corn for dinner tonight. That was, I promised her that I would eat an actual like sandwich or something after the class, but yeah, candy corn is what is getting me through. Candy corn and Gatorade is what's getting me through the day today. So. All right, so we're going to just keep going like we did with these. We're just going to open and close each one of our loops that we've made, right? So we're doing 12. 6 of mine were already done. So I did cheat a little bit, but we didn't want to keep you guys here for hours making loops.
You gotta infuse like the magic of TV a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like that you open the oven, you have like this beautiful casserole. That's kind of like what you're doing.
Exactly. Yes.
Like you still know how to make the casserole, but you don't have to sit there for 20 minutes while the casserole heats at 400 degrees.
Exactly. All right. So this one, I'm going to connect it to the part of this that I did beforehand. So with the magic of TV, we have a strand ready to go. And we do have some chain here, so I'm going to put the chain on the ends and let me show you how long this chain is, because I want to be sure that if you want to make it exactly the way I made it, that you've got, so it's 2 inches of chain goes on each end. Now you don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. You can always make adjustments, but just in case, for those who wanted to make it exactly this way, you need about 2 inches of the chain. And you'll see this is another one of those situations where I'm using this chain as a way to not crowd this with our next strand in our necklace. So this kind of helps. It also gives it a little extra length too, so that it'll hang at the length that I want it to. So you get your 2 2 carnelian beaded chains ready to go. And
oh my gosh, you see the same narrowing technique by the connection point.
Exactly. All right, so now all of this is going to come together with a jump ring, and I'm using just a twisted jump ring. You can use a plain jump ring. You can use a decorative ring. You can use whatever you want to as your connection here. But I'm going to open that up. I'm going to thread on my bird, and then I'm going to thread on the end of each one of my beaded chains, and then I'm going to close that back. All right, so our bottom strand of our necklace is done, okay? So now I can take all of this and I'm going to sit this to the side because we don't need this right this second. We're going to work on the next part of our necklace. The next part of our necklace,
I already love it.
is, I know it looks beautiful by itself, and I could have gotten away with it, but like I wanted to add all of these other beads, and who doesn't love a multi-strand design? So, all right,
more is more.
Exactly. Yes. So for this one, we're going to do just simple stringing. We're going to use some crimps. We're going to use some bead stringing wire. We're going to use some wire guardians. And basically we're going to put all of our table cut beads onto a strand. We're going to put one of the clover beads in the middle. So I'm going to divide these up really quickly, and then we're going to get our bead stringing wire ready. Just want to lay all these out just so that I make sure I have an even number on both sides. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take some bead stringing wire here and that ready to go.
Is it a Sara Lovecraft class if we don't go over basic crimping technique and simple loops? Just to make sure we are all on the same page here.
Exactly. Well, those are the building blocks of all your jewelry making. So super important to know how to do both of those things. All right. So I'm going to take my bead stringing wire and I'm going to take a crimp and I'm going to thread that onto the end, and I'm going to take a wire guardian and I'm going to thread my wire through the wire guardian, up through, and then down through, and then down through my crimp. Now I'm going to put Sam on the spot. Sam, why do we use a wire guardian?
Absolutely. Would love to answer this question.
Yay!
So Sam might not personally use wire guardians because he anything that's that small, he doesn't keep track of. But
that's fair.
But we got to back up to the wire itself is steel cables that are then usually in like some sort of nylon coating going around them to protect them. And there's a whole bunch of steel, tiny cables that you do not want to get exposed to the elements if you can help it.
Exactly.
So use how am I doing, teacher?
Yes.
So we can use the wire guardian as another barrier. So this is the point where the wire is going to be rubbing the most and where it's going to be wearing down the most. So if we put it through the wire guardian, it will take the brunt of the wear and the rubbing and last a lot longer.
Yes. Yay. Look at you go.
Wow. This is what I get for watching Sarah.
So let me just say, first and foremost, it is totally okay if you don't use wire guardians. Not everybody has to use them, but they are one of the ways, just like Sam said, it's a great way to lengthen the life of your design for sure. But it's not super duper necessary. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have wire guardians. What am I doing? I'm doing things. You're not doing anything wrong. Wire guardians are, I don't want to say that they're new, but they've not been around forever. And, we're glad that they exist, but it's not a have to. It's not a deal breaker. It's just an additional, security for your design. So use them, don't use them. It's totally up to you. I like them just because I tend to be very hard on my jewelry. But again, it's up to you. So I'm just stringing, by the way, not doing anything special here. I put half of my table cut beads on one side. I'm going to put one of these little black beads on, and then I'm going to thread on my clover bead. And then I'm just going to repeat that. So I'm going to do small black bead and then the rest of the table cut. And then we're going to crimp the other end. And I will walk you through that crimping process.
All right, just check. We have 14 of the version 2 of this kit available. So I'm going to put that link once more in the comments in case anyone would like one.
All right, so I got all my beads on here. This is going to make a beautiful second strand to our necklace. It's obviously a little bit shorter than the bottom strand, which is exactly what we want because we like that tiered look for the necklace. We're going to thread on our crimp and then again our wire guardian. So we're taking the wire up through the wire guardian, down through the wire guardian, and then back down through the crimp. So when your wire is in your crimp, whether you're starting or finishing your strand, you want to be sure that your wires are not crossing inside that crimp. You definitely want to look down inside there, or you kind of get a feel for it after you've done it for a while. You can tell how those wires are sitting inside there. I've done it so many times. I don't look very often anymore. But you want to be sure that those wires, the bead stringing wire, is running parallel inside your crimp. I use crimp tubes just as preference because there's more surface area. So I find that it's easier for me to crimp. You use a crimp tube, you're going to use a crimp bead. Either one makes no difference. The process is going to be exactly the same, starting with, of course, those wires running parallel and not crossing inside there. Because if those wires are crisscrossing each other and then you crimp, you're actually going to crimp the wire itself. And that is going to cause, obviously, some breakage in that nice nylon coating that Sam was talking about. So make sure those wires are running parallel, and then you're going to bring your crimper tool in and we're going to put it into the back notch. It's the one that looks like the macaroni, has that tooth coming down. When you squeeze this, the tooth that comes down is going to further separate those wires inside that crimp. So place it in there and then give it a squeeze, and you'll even be able to see those wires are not touching inside that crimp. You can see how much space is in there, and that tooth really does kind of further separate. It really pushes each one of those wires up against the wall of the crimp on either side to keep them completely separated. So then you're going to turn it sideways and you're going to place it into the front notch of the crimper tool, and then you're going to give it a squeeze. And all that's going to do is really, it just tidies it up. There's nothing technical about that part other than it just makes your crimp smaller. So it just kind of disappears in the design. And then you're going to come in with your cutter tool and trim off the excess wire. You don't have to tuck it. You don't have to run it through beads. You don't have to do any of that. If you have crimped properly, you don't have to have any of that extra security by running that wire. And honestly, when you run the wire through, the whole design again, you're not really saving it from breaking. If anything, you're kind of stiffening up the natural drape of the bead stringing wire when you double it up like that. So just some things to consider, because I know that when a lot of us very first start making jewelry, those are some of the beginner techniques that we use that end up not really doing us any favors. We think we're doing right, and we end up realizing later on that we're not. So I always kind of strive to teach everybody that in the beginning, because nobody taught me those things. I had to figure all that stuff out on my own. All right, so we have our second strand ready to go. And now we're ready to kind of bring all of this together. Now I'm going to use some faux suede lace. You use leather, use whatever you want to bring all this together, but I'm going to use just some flat suede. Okay. And I've got a piece here that looks like mine's about 12 to 14 inches, kind of just depending on what you want. What you're going to do with it, though, is you're going to fold it over. So you need to be sure that, like, if you want 6 inches of this, you're going to need 12 inches of it to start with, because you're going to fold it over. Mm-hmm. And we are going to, let me show you the side that's already done. So we're going to fold it over, and we're going to fold it over a jump ring. And then we're actually going to slide 3 jump rings down. And this is serving a couple of purposes. One, it just looks kind of cool. But number 2, it is holding those 2 pieces of the suede together so that they don't separate and make like a big open loop. I know it seems weird. It's just 3 jump rings, but it makes a world of difference. If you don't want to do like an overhanded knot here because it's too chunky, you can always slip a couple of jump rings over your double strand and it'll keep everything nice and compact. I'm going to show you an alternative to this when we make the bracelet, but for now, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to take our suede and like I said, we're going to fold it in half. We're going to need a jump ring. So I'm going to bring in my jump ring. I'm going to bring it to the middle, get my 2 ends together here. And now I'm going to take 3 jump rings and I'm going to slide those jump rings over the ends of the suede.
Do they have to be small enough so they stay at the end?
Yeah, you want to be sure that they're big enough to accommodate your cord, but small enough to not slip off the end. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose them, or they're gonna drop down into your beaded parts of your necklace. So,
okay,
yeah. And honestly, I kind of prefer using oval jump rings for this, but I didn't have any on hand. The oval jump rings really,
smart.
They work really well for this kind of technique. So I'm just going to slide those down, and that's just going to kind of keep my jump ring down here at the bottom, and it's going to keep my suede nice and tidy. Okay.
You could always put like a dot of glue in that too, couldn't you?
Yes, absolutely. You can, and you can put the glue in the suede, like in the middle of the suede, and slide these over, or you can do the glue on the top and slide these over if you use a glue that'll work on metal. So yeah, you got options there for sure. Okay, so each one of these is going to attach to the ends of our necklace, and then I'm going to finish off the ends. So I'm going to come in here very carefully. And we're going to bring in the first strand of our necklace here, and we're going to thread on chain. The end of our chain on one end. Whoops. And then the wire guardian on our stringing piece. And we're going to close that. And then we're going to do the same thing over on the other side with another piece of suede that's been folded in half. So you're going to open, thread on your chain. Oops. Well, maybe. There we go. And then we're going to thread on our wire guardian, and we're going to close. Okay. So ultimately we brought the 2 strands together. Now I want to show you before I finish off these ends. You can see how that chain, see how the chain, number 1, it's adding length. But number 2, it's keeping my beads from crowding each other out in this section where the 2 strands are coming together. So it's just like the jump rings in our tassel. The strand of chain here is ultimately keeping everything from being just like a clumped up mess, right? And then the beads start when the 2 strands really kind of fully start to separate. So same kind of technique here.
How did you tie that so perfectly on the necklace?
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Like,
how did I?
You must have planned this like in reverse of like how much chain you were gonna need, like just to get, because it literally separates at the perfect moment.
Yeah, it was trial and error. It really is kind of trial and error just to kind of figure out the sweet spot. So what I do a lot of times is I'll lay the stringing section or whatever my top strand is out first, and then what you're looking for is that opening. So you bring in your second piece and you just kind of want to slide it up and see like, where's that going to be? And then measure out your amount of chain. So you were going to lay it all out flat first and then kind of just determine how much chain it's going to take. And it really is kind of trial and error. Sometimes it's a little too long. Sometimes it's a little too short, but if you'll lay it flat and start with the stringing part, or whatever your top strand is. It doesn't even have to be the stringing part. Whatever that top strand is, and then slide in your bottom piece to just kind of get an idea. It's a little bit more helpful. But if you're curious, again, that's 2 inches of chain there. So you don't even have to guess. You can just cut 2 inches of chain because I told you to. So,
as we said last week, do what Sara says.
That's right. All right. So to finish off the ends of the necklace now, you guys, my cord end is antique brass. It's not copper. I apologize. I didn't have any copper ones that I could find when I was putting this together. This is a TierraCast cord end. You just use a little bit of glue, some hypo cement, and a toothpick, and you slide your strands in there, and then you can very gently squeeze this down to finish off your ends. Mine does not match. It needs to be copper. It's not. Just don't look at it.
We forgive you. I also feel so silly for not. I just got those into the shop and feel so silly for not putting those on the website for today. But we'll get those on like sometime next week because those are awesome cord ends.
They really are, and I love that they're textured and they come in all the metals. Like they're awesome. So and they're perfect for suede. So you're just going to take your 2 ends of your suede, okay, and then you're going to, like I said, you're going to put your glue. I put the glue inside the cord end and then I slide my cord ends in. Now, the one that I have in my hand, I completely destroyed because I had to pull the cord ends out of it because I didn't realize that I needed to show you guys how to do this. So this one is mangled and it's not going to work, but basically that's all you do. I'll show you on the bracelet. Okay. So, again, you want yours to match. Mine does not. You're going to slide your cord ends in there, let the glue dry, and then you're going to put your hardware at the end, which is just a jump ring for both sides and then a clasp. Okay. And so your necklace will be finished. Your necklace is done. I'll show you what it looks like on the bust when we get done, but we're going to put together a bracelet really quickly, like super quick. And then I'm going to show you the earrings because they're pretty self-explanatory, and then we'll be finished. Okay. So I'm going to sit the necklace to the side, sit this over here. Okay, and now we're going to put together a really quick bracelet. The bracelet is also suede, where we've done the same thing. Okay, some more of these really cool cord ends from TierraCast. It's a piece of suede that's been folded over. Now, instead of using jump rings for this, because I don't have gravity to hold this because it's a bracelet, my jump rings would travel too much. So instead of using jump rings, I've just bundled around the wire, or I'm sorry, around the suede with some wire. So that's what we're going to do. But we got to put our little focal together first. So the center of our bracelet is our little hummingbird that I absolutely love. So I put mine on a head pin and did a wrapped loop. You can do a simple loop, it's whatever you want to do, but you're going to need a head pin regardless to get this guy attached to the bell. So cute. And I've got 2 carnelian beads and 2 of the little black beads left over from my beads, and I'm going to use a piece of copper wire. So I'm going to use a piece of 20 gauge copper, okay, and I'm going to do a wrapped loop on one end. So I'm going to come down on the wire and I'm going to give it a bend. Okay, I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, and I want a large loop because I need to be able to accommodate the suede here. So I'm coming back on the pliers a little bit, go up and over. Take the pliers and rotate those. Take the wire over to the other side. Now for this one, since this one's already done, I'm going to just slip this in here. So I'm just going to, you don't have to do this if obviously you're not going to have yours pre-done. You can do both wrapped loops first and then just fold your wire over, but we're improvising because, saving time here. And then I'm going to use my bent chain nose pliers because I can hold everything out of the way, including the tip of the pliers. And we're going to do 3 wraps on our wire. Come in with my cutter tool and trim off. Okay, I'm going to thread on one of the carnelian beads, the black bead, the bail with our hummingbird, and then just repeat. And you can do these either way. You can do the carnelian on the inside and the black on the outside. It's whatever you want to do. Okay. And then I'm going to do another wrapped loop. So chain nose pliers, bending the wire, round nose pliers coming in again, kind of back here towards the back, up and over. Rotate the pliers, take the wire over to the other side, and then we're going to wire wrap. And I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off.
Why is it the cutest little bracelet, Sarah?
I know.
Just a few cute little beads is so it's genius.
And then if you don't like it straight, since it's wire, you can kind of give it a little curve to make it fit your wrist better if you want to. Just give it a little curve there. And then we're going to take our suede. Our suede piece is 8 inches long. So I fold it in half, it'll be 4 inches. And you make your adjustments because everybody's bracelet size is going to be a little bit different. But I'm just going to loop it in the middle. That wrapped loop, right? And I'm going to come in and put on my cord end. So again, just like with the necklace, you're going to put your little bit of glue on a toothpick inside there. Stop that. Dogs are acting crazy. And then you're going to tuck you're going to push your cord ends inside there. And then of course, give them a little squeeze. I am not going to fight with this one, but that's what you're going to do. Oh my goodness.
Use a toothpick to help it get in and put the glue in as well? Or when you put the glue in?
So the toothpick is going to help get the glue on the inside, and then you just push the cord ends in there. And then you can squeeze them with your nylon jaw pliers to squeeze the cord end over the ends. But it'll fit just like that. But down here, like I said, since we can't put jump rings on here because they would travel around because it's not hanging, so they wouldn't stay in place, we're going to just bundle a little bit of wire. So the leftover wire from where you were doing your wrap loop earlier, if you just want to cut like a 2 or 3 inch piece of wire, all you're going to do is, I always start in the middle of my wire. I don't know why. You don't have to. You can start at the end. I just find this a little bit easier, but I'll cut my wire, place it across the cord, and then I just kind of bundle. And it's messy. You can do it nice and neat if you want to, but I don't. I generally just kind of make like a messy,
pretty.
Yeah. And I'll do a couple of wraps around with the top and then a couple of wraps around with the bottom until it kind of looks like I want it to look, and then I just trim off the excess. So
do you just kind of go back and forth between like doing a lark's head knot and doing something like this?
Yeah, it really is just kind of up to you, like what you want to do and how you want it all to look. I wanted this to kind of mimic the necklace, so I didn't do a lark's head knot, but you could have just as easily on the necklace done a lark's head knot and then done the same thing with the bracelet. I just used the wire to kind of mimic the jump rings that we had.
Yeah, it also ties in that like the whole metal piece of this kit, which is really nice.
But yeah, a lark's head knot would work just as well, and just add a little dab of glue to it and you're good to go. Sometimes I do a knot like an overhanded knot, but it tends to kind of make a chunky, I don't know. Sometimes it's just too much for a design, so it really just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. But that's basically it. Your bracelet is really simple. You don't have to have a whole lot going on because the hummingbird is the star of the show here. You have your little pop of colors here to kind of accent it, but more than anything, it's just a really great little piece that you can wear by itself, or you can stack this up with some of your other favorite bracelets. So it looks really, really good. You're just going to add your hardware to the ends. The cord ends already have a loop, so you just add your jump rings and a clasp, and you're good to go.
That is so cute.
It is, and it's it's lightweight.
I would wear that in a heartbeat. Like absolutely. I gotta make one of these.
Yeah. They're super cute, easy to wear. It doesn't weigh anything, and it's still got really beautiful beads on it. And that hummingbird is just really like, he's the star, as he should be. He's fabulous. He's so cute.
You're finally gonna get me to get my leather out. It's been a while.
Yes, you've got to. especially with fall coming, like all
Mm-hmm.
of the neutrals and and leather is huge this season. I was reading last night about what the fall fashions are for this year, and leather, everything is in. So you have no excuses.
I ordered some samples, so I'm trying to, because Phil has been asking for the shop for years. So I just ordered some samples, and I'm
Yeah.
just like praying that I like them, because I
Yeah.
refuse to bring one in that I do not like the quality of.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of picky about mine too. So to finish this off, I just did some really simple earrings with some of these clovers because they're just so pretty. I love them. They're beautiful all by themselves. So I just put them on a head pin and cut like an inch of chain and just add an ear wire to them. Now you could do whatever kind of beaded, goodness you want to do. There are still some beads left over. You could bead up any kind of earring that you wanted. But the necklace is really, like, for me personally, the necklace is like the star of this set. So I wanted to keep everything else kind of understated, but it's still all cohesive and goes together really well. So we've got a lot going on with the necklace, but then the bracelet and the earrings are maybe just a little less, but still, still have all the colors and the metals and everything going on. And you can work that up super, super easy with just, some wire. And you don't have to do a wraps loop. You can do a simple loop. You don't even have to do the chain. You can just do, a wraps loop and add an ear wire to it. And they're beautiful just like that. I just added that because I like long earrings, but that's just me.
I know so many folks who like the single bead earrings, like that. One
Yes.
charm, one bead. That is their style.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. I mean, they're classy. I'm a little crazy, so I tend to make like shoulder dusters sometimes, or like huge things. Wear like door knocker earrings, but I mean,
You are who you are.
That's right, exactly. Okay, I'm gonna turn you around so you can see this necklace on the bust, because it does not do it justice to be laying flat at all. Like, you gotta really see this hanging to really kind of appreciate the double strand of it. So put this on the bust here. Of course, for mine, I'm just tying the cord just so that I can show you, but because it is longer than this bust, but again, we're improvising a little bit here so you can see. So you've got the tassel, that bottom strand is nice and long, and then the top strand is right about like an 18-inch necklace. So it's not like choker like it looks on the bust here. It's a bit longer. This overall is a pretty long necklace. But you can adjust both of those things. You can change the length of this however you want to by just kind of shortening or lengthening that piece of suede. So
it's gorgeous. It actually, the whole piece is color blocked.
Yeah.
Like in layers going up. I don't think I've seen that. You have to, like, sometimes have like to sit with Sarah to like really understand the genius, and it just starts to hit you like a big old ice ball. So we got the whole black section. I'm like, this is not me explaining the design to you, but this is me explaining to everyone. The whole section of like metallic and black at the bottom, and the bird is kind of its own like mini color block section, and then that bright orange section with the carnelian, and then you go back to the color blocking of the black. I've never thought to structure a piece going up and down.
Yeah.
I've only thought of color blocking like within the length of one strand.
Yeah.
Genius.
I love that you pointed it out. Oh my gosh. I'm no joke. I kind of have chill bumps because this entire design was inspired by some color blocking that you did. When was it?
Oh, on the Maybox color blocking.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I love color blocking. I'm going to do that. And you're right. So vertical color blocking is like, turns out that's kind of my jam. Like, I get that. Whereas if you do
it's like making an outfit.
Yes. But if you do it this direction, it really stumps me. Like, I get it and I can do it, but sometimes I struggle with it. But if you do it this direction, for whatever reason, like, my brain gets it. So yeah, this was absolutely inspired by your color blocking. And I love that you got that, because like, I didn't say anything. It's just kind of the way it is.
What do you think inspired my color blocking of this? You know who it is.
Danielle, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah. She's like the color block queen. So yeah. I love it. We just have the best little circle of wonderful design friends. We really do. But yeah. And then I'll hold up the earrings for you. I mean, they're just, these kind of disappear in my hair because of the color, but anybody else can totally rock these. Redheads, you might want to add another pop of color just so that they don't get lost in your hair, but they're awesome. Like, they're so pretty. They're just simple, and you don't have to make them crazy to be beautiful. What is it I say? Your beautiful piece of jewelry does not have to be a representation of every skill you've ever learned. Sometimes, I always say more is more, but sometimes less is. I apologize for my friend here.
Never.
He insists that he feels like he needs to sit in my lap right now. I'm sorry.
He's a lap dog, obviously. I understand. If a big dog does not come sit in my lap, I am sad. I'm like, who trained you not to sit on a lap?
He always wants to come at the worst moments, though. He's like, "Hi, Mom, I'm here. I know you're live, but that's okay."
Oh God, this has been my favorite hour ever. So let's wrap up. So, folks, do not forget to check out Sara. She is amazing. You should follow her YouTube channel. Hit that little bell notification on her YouTube channel. She has an archive of like 100 plus, I think, videos now.
that you went through not too long ago.
No, I scrolled through them with Sara on the phone, giving all my commentary. I was like, oh, interesting. That's cool. That's cool. I was curious, like, which ones, like, some of your videos have gotten got a lot of attention. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like fast. Like, so like what catches folks? Like some of your like simple techniques, I think, draw maybe a more beginner crowd on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then some of your like more complex projects are like showstoppers and like get people to like take a peek at those. So it's very fun to scroll Sara's archive on the Sara Lovecraft Designs, right?
Yep.
YouTube channel. And the more you watch her videos, the more you support her. So watch all of them.
Make sure you watch the ads if you can.
So yeah, I always try to like let the ad play for, because sometimes they give me a 50-minute ad. And so I try to watch the ad for like a few minutes and then I'll click skip. And I'm like, all right, that was enough. Here we go.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
And then if you want to, and then the other great way to support Sara is to check out her Etsy shop where she releases kits each Friday. And I think you have kits available from today and last Fridays, I saw, if you want to check those out. And then you can check out, there's a video that's already available. So when you get your kit, you can make the piece immediately. You don't have to wait, like for this one, we released the kit beforehand. Sara does the opposite. So you have instant gratification when you get your package. Yeah. Which is fun. Yeah. What else? Okay, is that anything else you want to add on your end of things?
No, I think you covered everything. Yeah, you got it all. Just join my Facebook groups if you haven't already, for sure. And those of you who are here from my Facebook groups, if you're not part of Sam's Facebook groups, you need to be, for sure.
Come over to Gem Chat. We love hanging with everyone there. Let's see, for the Sam's Bead Shop side of things, I'm leaving town tonight, so I'm actually you maybe won't hear from me actually for a few days. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a vacation. Jesse and Rachel are going to do Tuesday's sale, which is Purple's Day or Purple Steals Day, as part of like our summer fun deals. So definitely come on Tuesday for that if you like a deal. If you like purple, I hope to see you there. Actually, you'll see Jesse and Rachel there. And then I'll be back on Thursday. I'll actually be joining technically from Bead Fest because I'm going to stop by Bead Fest Thursday, Friday, and try to go live for our Friday class from Bead Fest. I might try to steal someone and do a class with them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Meredith's going to be there, so maybe I could do something at the Bead-a-Lot table. I don't know. I'm going to have fun.
Yes.
But I'll be there. I'll tune in for the Thursday sale with Rachel. So definitely lots to check out. You can stay in the loop by being on our email list and on our text list at joinsamsbeadshop.com. Other than that, we've got some new kits at the shop. Also, we don't tend to do a lot of kits. Sara knows how to make kits. We are just starting to do some kits. So our next one is actually 2 weeks from today. We're doing our class with Danielle. So that's our Owls of the Earth kit that you can't really see here, but Jesse has a beautiful photo on the website.
Yes.
I think we have 3 left of those.
Wow.
So if you want one, now's your chance. And then we released a kit on Wednesday. I'm very excited about that. I haven't really showed folks yet. There are little Softflex kits.
So exciting.
Softflex Customer Appreciation Week. So those come in, each kit makes 2 bracelets. This beautiful technique that Rachel put together. And so if you want one of those kits, those are also on samsweetshop.com. And then Sarah's site is separate. Her Etsy shop is 13 Crows, where you can find her kits. So I hope that offers some clarity to all of this. Sarah and I will probably get together soon to do like a August fun, I'm hoping, because I really like the August box, and I hope Sarah does too.
I just got it today. I haven't opened it. I just got it today, though.
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited.
I think that's everything. We covered it. So let's go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you for having me, Sam. Thank you, everybody out there. It's been fun, as always.
This has been a joy, Sarah. A true joy. And please give Albert a hug for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know I will.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.